Hi there, my name is Anita Adefi. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a career coach, and I also empower women through my community platform called Ladies Arise. And I also blog and share about my story on dealing with child sexual abuse and how I came out of that. Through my platform called Loud Silences, and that's a blogging platform. But I also, like I mentioned earlier, I'm also a career coach. And so I love to speak to these different topics and conversations. So, yeah, if you follow me, I can assure you that there are so many diverse contents that you will find within my space. And I'm more than happy to keep sharing on all these different topics and conversations. Today, I want to share very quickly on something that I believe that impacts a lot of us. We've heard it in so many versions, but I'm gonna flip it around a little. As a career coach, I tend to talk to people who are looking for jobs and people who are looking to advance and grow in their careers. But I understand that I know this from personal experience, but also from working with other people and conversations that I've had and researches that I have done on my own to just better equip myself in this space. That sometimes you can have it all together, but if the person on the other side of a table is filled with certain biases, it can seriously impact your ability to move forward. And especially when it is systemic, that's something that it becomes even a harder hurdle to cross over. And as someone who has done some research work on systemic barriers, I can tell you without a shadow of doubt that oftentimes when barriers are created within a system, it is almost as if it is invisible to the perpetrators of those barriers, but hugely felt by the person who is impacted by those barriers. So today, I want to have a conversation and chat with hiring managers. Hiring managers, let's have a chat. And I just want to very quickly share with you, as a hiring manager, ways that you can deal with what they call unconscious bias, right? And before I even start to talk about those things, I just want to be the first to acknowledge very quickly. The truth is, it is very natural for us to want to gravitate towards people who look like us. If I walk into a room, there's a higher possibility or probability that I would look for someone who looks like me, either a woman, either a black person, or a black woman, even better. I would likely look for such people first. I would look for physical identifiers and naturally tend to gravitate towards those people. It is a very natural phenomenon. It is not peculiar. Those who don't tend to do that, trust me, people like me, when we walk into a room, we tend to, just talk and chat with everybody else. Yes, I'm an extrovert. Some people will kill me for hearing me say that because I always claim I'm an introvert. I identify as an introvert. Yes, deal with that. But yes, I'm an extrovert, and that would naturally mean that I would find it a little easier to talk to people than most people might. However, the art of even talking to people who don't look nothing like me, either in age, in gender, in ethnicity, or whatever it is, took years of practice, and I'm still practicing, and I will always continue to practice. So I get it, all right? It is not to say you're a bad person as a hiring manager, but sometimes the truth is that if we don't educate ourselves and get aware, then we continue to perpetuate the issue. So if you know hiring managers, please be nice, but tag them, talk to them, share this with people. You yourself might become a hiring manager someday, and you want to make sure that you're not caught in the same web. All right. So today, having said that, I believe what they call that thing is unconscious bias. That's what the research tells us. All right. And true story, I've heard of cases where people are hired or are not considered for a position, not because of anything else, but because the person who wants to make that decision can't pronounce their names, or because the person is wearing a hijab, or because the person talked about that they go to church. I've actually been a victim of saying I go to church. But let's not get into that. That's a story for another time. All right. So sometimes there's all of these unconscious biases that we all need to put in check, either as hiring managers or as as candidates. But today's conversation is for hiring managers. So if you're a hiring manager, how do you deal with unconscious bias so that you're adding to people's lives and not taking away from them? Because the decisions you make better be objective, because if they're not, that's someone's life that you're literally toying with, and we don't want you to do that. And you want to go to bed at peace with yourself too. So I'm just going to quickly, very quickly share with us today 6 ways that if you're a hiring manager, you can check unconscious bias in your hiring process. Number one, apply empathy and compassion. Think about, empathy is putting yourself in their shoes. What did I just say? Empathy is putting yourself in their shoes. And compassion is letting how you feel in that moment drive you to do something about the situation. And typically, that will be doing something right. Okay, so apply empathy and apply compassion. And I'm even sharing this more so because as new Canadians are coming into Canada, and yes, the context really is within a Canadian context, but I think this applies pretty much anywhere else. But as people are coming in, I work with clients a lot who, struggle for different reasons. The resumes are right. You listen to them and what they share at interviews, it all makes sense, but then, and I mean, there are so many factors that come into play as to why people might not get a job. But sometimes when it really feels like there was no reason why they shouldn't have gotten that job, it becomes heartbreaking, right? So really put yourself in their shoes. You wouldn't like it if someone did that to you. So make sure that you put your unconscious bias in check and do the right thing. Number two, acknowledge and recognize your bias. If you refuse to acknowledge something, then it doesn't exist. And if it doesn't exist, then it is not a problem. And if it is not a problem, then you're not seeking a solution. It is that simple. Recognize. Truth be told, we all have unconscious biases. I have mine. I know what they are, and I'll continue to uncover more as you deal with people of different opinions, backgrounds, ethnicity that differ from yours. Your unconscious biases, if you're paying attention, starts to unfold. So acknowledge that I have unconscious bias. Question number two is, what are they? And number three is, how am I showing up with those biases when I'm in a recruitment process? And then number four, how do I make sure that I put those biases in check, and what can I do? What are some practical things that I can do to help me do that? And we're going to talk about some of those practical things in a moment here. But number one is that you want to go in with a mindset that applies compassion and empathy. And two, you want to acknowledge and recognize that you have your biases and what they are, and know how to, when they show up and how they show up, so you're better prepared to deal with them. Number three, get educated. This is why I am doing this video, is to get us educated. So manage your unconscious bias effectively. You need to continue to educate yourself. I dare you, learn about other cultures. There are some things that people might say or do to you as a hiring manager, and I want to speak, to my Caucasian Canadians very quickly here, or white counterparts. To you, it is disrespect. To you, it is lack of confidence if someone is not holding eyes with you. But they're probably coming from a culture where, especially if you're an older person, they're coming from a culture where holding eyes of someone who's older than you, eye contact of someone who's older than you, is considered disrespect. They're still dealing with all of those intricacies and understanding this new culture. I call it the clash of the cultures. They're going through a clash of the culture moment. And when they're going through that, and you judge their confidence level based on that, the truth is you've missed it already. That person might have everything you want, but then you say no to them for that singular reason, whereas they were your best candidates. They're not lacking confidence. They're just, exuding something that they've learned culturally, have been told that that's what is appropriate all their lives. So you see why you need to get educated, learn about other cultures. As much as sometimes I find some of these DEI trainings very cheesy, some of them, not all, but the truth is, at times, because there's always still something to learn, and sometimes you get to meet other people. There are lots of research that have been done and are continuing to be done. Educate yourself with those things and understand and empower yourself so that you can recognize your biases, but also learn how to deal with them. Okay, so number four, make your interview processes a little bit more structured. Now, structured, but also sort of customized. We live in an age where marketing contents are customized to the individual's behaviors and patterns. We live in an age where sales pitch are also, customized. We live in an age where preferences can be customized. Different things are getting customized. Question: why aren't interview processes getting customized? I mean, if someone highlights specific skill sets that they have, and they have the requirements that you need, This is where innovation and innovative thinking and creativity, I believe, can be applied to human resources. Is that you look at someone's interview and you look at the skills that they have, and you can hone in your interview processes or questions around those specific things, as opposed to trying to stick to, I mean, I don't know what the HR business is in that sense, or what you've been told the educational, the theory is. But the truth is, for every application, there's opportunity to be innovative and creative in how you apply the theories. So look for areas where you can apply those theories. Focus on the skill sets and the qualifications of the person, as opposed to where they had them. Because one of the things, and this is why people tend to talk about even the Canadian experience. Let me speak very quickly to that. You're looking for Canadian experience, but this person you're trying to hire is coming with a perspective that is completely different and fresh and from a different place. That to me speaks of global experience. And you're honed in on Canadian experience. Come on. You want innovative ideas in your business, expand your territorial reach through hiring diverse groups. Okay, so number 5, have diverse interview panels. Now, remember how I talked about some of the nuances of culture that can come into play in the recruitment process. If you have diverse interview panel, you might be able to quickly catch that. So when you, for instance, and I'll share very quick, this is a true story, this happened. I remember talking to a senior government official once at one of the places where I worked. And he asked me, I'm Nigerian Canadian, by the way, and he asked me and said, "Oh, you're Nigerian?" I said yes. And he said, "Oh, this person is also Nigerian. Do you know them?" And I'm like, "Yeah." "Do you know the next random white person on the streets?" Sorry. Sometimes I know it's not nice. Anyway, and I asked them that, and I said, "Well, actually, I do know them, but I met them here," and we had a conversation. And he said, "Well, this person is really great with what they do, but he's, very concerned that they don't really speak up in meetings, and he wonders if they really do have anything to offer." And I said, "Oh, believe me, they do." He said, "Well, but why not share?" I said, "Because it's not something that he's used to, culturally speaking. We're in a room full of older people, much older people than we are, and you're expecting to speak." And I said, "Well, but you speak." And I said, "Well, even in Nigeria, I was an anomaly. I didn't follow. I'm not your standard status quo follow kind of person, right? I just always had my own way of doing things, all right? And for some weird reason, I was wired that way. I'm learning how to chip away the negative sides of that and honing on the positive, because there's strength in that as well." And I said, "But there are people who tend to follow the books to the latter. He's that kind of person. So he will not speak in meetings unless you tell him to." Now, you can argue, and I agree, that, well, what the balance of this is, the other person should make efforts to understand and learn the systems here, and I agree. And that's why people like us exist, because we'll be teaching them those systems. Some are learning, some are not. Please learn. All right, so I get it. But the truth is that the next meeting we had, this person was asked point blank, "What do you think about this? And how do you think that went?" Pretty well. Really awesome. All right, so that's what having diverse interview panel can do to you, can do for you, is that what you think and perceive as a weakness, the other person, because they understand the cultural nuances around that, can tell you what it is. And then finally, do blind resume reviews. I don't have the technique for you on this one yet, but if there are ways to do it, remove personal information such as names, and all of those things. And for those who put their photos on their resumes, please do not do that. And for people who are applying, if you have a name that is hard to spell or pronounce and you recognize that, in bracket, put a name, a short form that people can use to pronounce, or in bracket, put a way that they can pronounce it for them, so that people can, it helps bridge some of that gap, and you don't reduce your chances. All right? Nobody should hold anything against you for having your name. Anyway, so conduct blind resume reviews as much as possible. So these are some ways that these are 6 good ways that I think that as hiring managers, we can really start to hone in. If you truly want to have a thriving organization, you need inclusive teams. You need diverse teams, and you need to be inclusive with those teams, not just try to fit them into boxes, but truly be inclusive. So I really hope that this helps someone. I'd love to hear your feedback and comments and if there are questions too, I'd love to answer them. Okay, but I really hope that this has helped someone. I look forward to more conversations like this with you, even as I start to learn to lean into doing what I do best, which is educate people, but even more so in the career space, and taking a two-sided approach as well. So I really hope that you like this video, you share this video, and I really hope that you know, engage with me in the comment section. I look forward to more conversations with you. Take care and bye.